Today I'm starting a series where I'm going to be talking about plants that I think I have identified or I recognize while watching movies and TV shows. And if it's something I've never seen before, I'm going to try to identify it. And I'm especially going to be talking about ones that I feel like have significance in the movie or TV show. I feel like I'm doing this constantly, especially if I'm watching a movie in an outdoor setting. I'm just constantly scanning for plants, so I thought, why not make a series out of it? The first TV show I'm going to be talking about, which felt like a very obvious choice for me, is The Walking Dead. So The Walking Dead takes place in the state Georgia, more specifically Sonoy, Georgia, which is the town where they did most of their filming for the TV series. So that kind of gives us an idea of what kind of plant life and vegetation we'll see in this show. Probably the most notable plant in The Walking Dead is the Cherokee Rose in Season 2, especially since one of their episodes was named after it. Daryl gives Carol a Cherokee Rose to help comfort her while their group is looking for her missing daughter Sophia, and this is actually a really touching moment. Daryl tells her about the legend of the flower and its connection to grieving Cherokee mothers during the Trial of Tears, when natives were being forced off their land by American soldiers. And it was believed that the flowers bloomed where the mother's tears fell. And this is really a legend that people have down in the South about this flower. And it's actually the state flower of Georgia. So as you guessed it, Cherokee Rose is in the rose family. It's in the Rosaceae family, which is also the apple family. And just like any other rose, it has a thing called a rose hip, as you see right here. But this rose hip looks different than a lot of rose hips I've seen before. It's longer, it's spikier, but they are edible just like other rose hips, very high in vitamin C. They can be eaten cooked or raw, and they're very high in antioxidants. And some people even use the rose hip to make wine. It can be used to treat many different ailments, including but not limited to UTIs, dysentery, fertility issues, prolapsed uterus, being that it's high in tannins, it's very toning, and even male reproductive disorders. The next plant that definitely deserves an honorable mention in The Walking Dead is one of my favorites, Sambucus nigra, also known as black elderberry or elderberry. In Season 4, Herschel goes to the woods with Carl to collect some elderberries that he saw in the woods to make a tea with and to hopefully treat an aggressive flu strain that's killing off members of their group. And this demonstrates exactly what elderberry is used for and most known for medicinally. Elderberry is a very powerful defense against influenza and viral infections, and there are countless studies that show this. In particular, its ability to inhibit the H1N1 virus, which is known as swine flu, and is mentioned in the show as the possible virus causing the illness outbreak. The next plant is probably from one of the most infamous scenes in The Walking Dead, and it takes place in Season 4, and it's this scene. Just look at the flowers, Lizzie. Look at the flowers. So this is a pretty devastating episode where Carol has to put down Lizzie after she unalives her sister Mika. Unfortunately, there isn't mental health treatment in the apocalypse, and Carol makes the decision to let her go while she looks at the flowers. Explaining this without full context is really weird, and if you haven't seen the show, you're probably confused as hell. Anyway, this scene is also responsible for countless memes and jokes too. This, by far, was the hardest plant to identify, and I spent way too much time, way too many hours trying to figure out what the hell it was, and I went to some lengths, let me tell you, to figure out what this plant was, because it's kind of hard to see in the show because it's kind of far away and you can't get a lot of details. So I looked on an app called iNaturalist of spotted plants where the episode was shot in Sonoy, and I really felt like I was doing detective work trying to track this plant down. And when I first saw it, it reminded me of a poppy or like a buttercup. In the midst of my obsessive hyperfixation of figuring out what this was, I came down to 3 possible contenders. Either it was Yellow Cosmos, Buffalo Bur, or Celandine Poppy. Looking at probably 100 plants, I was just really confused, so I even tried sketching out a basic shape that I could make out in the TV show of like the flower and the leaf, but I still just didn't know. Until I discovered a Facebook group for Sonoy, Georgia foraging, and I found out through the locals on that page that it was probably most likely Celandine Poppy. So that's what we're going with this time. So Celandine Poppy, also known as wood poppy, is well known for its ability to help treat stomach, liver, and gallbladder issues. It also was used as a pain reliever, and Native Americans used the yellow sap that comes from the stem to make dyes, to dye their hides and to make paint. The sap is also an irritant and actually can eat away at the skin because it is considered a plant latex, which a lot of these plant latexes can be very irritating to the skin. But that means it also can be used to burn off warts and to eat away moles.
Leslie, no, don't drink that. We use it to burn warts off of the mules.
And, yeah, that's pretty crazy. But it's something you want to be very, very careful with when using because it has this irritant quality to it. There's kind of a saying that goes in herbalism that there's not such thing as toxic plants, there's only such thing as toxic doses. So if you're going to ingest this, it would probably be more likely in a homeopathic amount or in a homeopathic dose, and you would want to work with an experienced herbalist. However, though, if you cook the leaves, they are safe to eat and ingestible. So if you live in Georgia and you've seen this plant before and think I identified it correctly, let me know in the comments. Or if you think you have a better guess, let me know. And if you have any suggestions or ideas for other TV shows or movies that I could review and examine the plants, let me know in the comments. And I had a lot of fun doing this. Thanks for watching. Bye.